All right, so this video will be the first in several videos that deal with ideology. And let's keep it simple. Ideology, all it is a set of beliefs, a set of ideas that you use to justify your point of view. You might use it to justify your position on issues. You might also use it to justify your preferred solutions to the world's problems or our country's problems. Okay, so we have two basic tools that we use to kind of map ideology. The first tool we're going to talk about is the political compass. Thus, the compass that I've drawn on the board here. You might recognize it as a coordinate plane or as a Cartesian plane. Okay, we wanted to throw some math terms around as well. Okay, so today our goal is to make sure that we can label this with the different political ideologies that you will need to know. Okay, the nice thing about this tool is what it allows us to do is to identify a person or a person's belief by their ideology or a political party or a political group. We can place them on here and it will give us terms that allow us to accurately describe their political beliefs. All right, are you ready? All right, so the first thing I do is label my axes. The x-axis is the economic scale. That's where I find all the wide range of beliefs concerning the economy or concerning who should answer the economic questions. What goods and services to produce, how to produce them, how to distribute them, what role government should have in, basically providing for people's wants and needs. That's going to be on the x-axis here. The y-axis is the social moral scale. So up here is all the beliefs of what people should be allowed to do, what they should not be allowed to do, and what government role in deciding what people can and cannot do. Okay, so that's the social moral scale. And there's going to be examples of issues on both that you will have to kind of identify. All right? But let's move on to where do we find the ideologies? All right, let's start with our economic ideologies. So on the left side over here is where I find this classic economic ideology that we call liberal. On the right side over here is where we find conservative. Okay, we'll talk about the definitions at a later date. Right now we just need to know that liberal's on the left, conservative is on the right. When we go to our social ideologies, we have authoritarian up here. And down below, I have another, the opposite social ideology we call libertarian. All right? Now, what you need to understand is that libertarian is everything that is below the x-axis. So it's both of these quadrants here. If you're down here, you'd be considered to be libertarian. Authoritarian is everything that's above the x-axis. So if you're up here, either side, we would consider you to be an authoritarian. And then the same thing with liberal. Liberal is everything to the left of the y-axis. So both up here and down here, you'd be considered liberal. And over here, up, down, conservative. So it works like that. So we know that if in math, we studied the coordinate plane, I number my quadrants a certain way. So I start over here with 1. Here's quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Right? And you should have at this point already taken the political compass test and generated a coordinate for where your beliefs might be. Now, how accurate the political compass test is, that is something we can debate about and question. But still, you got a coordinate, so you got to get a point, right? And what that allows me to do, the political compass allows me to describe the beliefs of the person that might exist right here on the political compass. So anybody who's in quadrant 3, I would call them, they are left of the y-axis, so they're liberal, but they are below the x-axis, so they're libertarian. So the people here we would call liberal libertarians. So people in quadrant 1 are going to be conservative authoritarians. People in quadrant 2 we would call liberal authoritarians. And people in quadrant 4 would be conservative libertarians. It allows me to describe both their social and economic beliefs. Okay, so conservative and liberal traditionally only an economic ideology. And authoritarian and libertarian only a social ideology. But once I put you into a quadrant, all of a sudden I have the language to more accurately describe your beliefs. All right, so this is the tool that you need to know. If you can master this tool, if you know how to use this language right here to accurately describe a person's belief on an issue or a political party, you're in good shape. Now, unfortunately, in the AP world, this is not going to be enough, right? So there's an additional language that we layer on to make it AP, to APIze it, right? Okay, so here you go. I will write these terms up, and then I will kind of let you know what they mean. All right, so it's going to get a little confusing here, but essentially this is what happens in the AP world. Is we replace the terminology liberal libertarians for quadrant 3 with the phrase economic liberals. We would call the people that exist in this quadrant economic liberals. And rather than use the term conservative libertarians, we talk about economic conservatives in quadrant 4. Okay? And over here, in quadrant 1, rather than use the term conservative authoritarians, we talk about social conservatives. And in quadrant 2, instead of talking about liberal authoritarians, we talk about social liberals. And then we have some extremes that you need to know as well. So extreme quadrant 2 people that would exist up over here. If they took the political compass test, they'd be way up over here. We call them communitarians. And then the people that it would take that exist way over here in quadrant 4, so way off the thing, gets a little confusing because we would also call them libertarians. All right? There you go. Now, the question for tomorrow, the question that you might want to answer is, why did I color it the way I did? Okay? That will be a lead into the definitions. Right? So if you can figure out the color scheme, you're in good shape. Otherwise, just go on to the next video and we'll see you there.